Welcome to episode number 7. And today we have again an awesome presenter. He doesn't really need a lot of presentations. Steve Cotter, again for the second time. If you missed the first episode with him, just go and check it out, because he's such an amazing coach, but he's such an amazing person. And today he will talk a lot about fear, how to overcome and how to transform the fear in positive energy and lead to action. Starting from your mind, which is the initiative, and lead to action, and live more the moments where you are actually right now, because fear doesn't exist in the present. Enjoy the podcast. Welcome, Steve.
Super Steve, how are you?
How's it going?
Yeah, good. It's such a beautiful day that I'm blessed here in Gold Coast. It's such a blue sky, and this morning we woke up really early for the Anzac Day. Lots of people that were paying respect for the soldiers. And it was a beautiful morning. You could see the sunrise and then still some steam from a cold night, but then it was coming the sun. It was that conflict of power between the hot and the cold, and it was amazing. My older son just woke up and just came and hugged me and then say hello. And then when I came back from the fruit and vegetables, the other one was just coming around the room with the 3 hands and say, Dad, Dad, Dad. So that was the most particular moment so far, like proud of my kids.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah. What is your connection with Italy? Because you've got lots of connections in Italy.
Well, my wife is Italian from Genova.
That's why. From Genova.
Yeah. But otherwise, just on my own, teaching there many times. You know, I have a lot of students over the years because I first started teaching there in 2009. I've run probably a dozen courses over the past decade there. So a lot of different cities, a few times in Rome, Milan, Naples, Pisa one time, Florence another time. So it'll be interesting how the Italians contain themselves. And
yeah, it's going to be really interesting because I believe what I want even from this podcast is get people to get more hope and get more also positivity, because I bet I'm 100% sure there are lots of people, even when you say, okay, now you can go, let's get back to a kind of new normal, they will be scared. They're scared because they don't know what's going on. They don't know if it's safe or not yet, or they don't have strong beliefs, or they don't trust themselves first. So that's the first thing. When we got the first conversation was actually, I think it was perfect. I can get some bits from there too, because it was so natural. And you were talking about, I remember one of the example was we are on the big boat, and it doesn't matter if I am the captain or driving the boat. If I want everyone on the boat and I want to get them faster on the boat, I need to get out and help all the people that maybe they need help to get on the boat, rather than just waiting for them. So it's a great message as a leader. How can you explain? You explain much better than me.
Yeah, this is a principle that I believe in, and catching up before the camera. So, okay, yeah, that's fine. Let me say a few things about the fear that you mentioned, because that's central to everything in the physical education and the development. And, you know, my experience about fear is there's only one fear. And each individual can express fear in different terms. So, for example, fear of death is a common fear. For some people, fear of heights. In other cases, fear of public speaking usually comes very high on a list of fears that people have. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, also fear of success. You know, so, but what I came to understand is that all fear is just one fear, and it's the fear of the unknown. So that which we do not understand and we don't know, we fear that. And even in terms of like race and ethnicities, sometimes there's fear. If a person's been very isolated in a particular region, and everyone around kind of looks like them, and maybe someone from a different part of the world comes, or we call it racism, but racism is a form of fear as well. It's a fear of the unknown and seeing differences, and not being able to see the sameness, the similarity.
And I experienced that when I came here.
Yeah, right. Because you're from a foreign man from a foreign land.
Yes, but I'm always see the similarity, as you said, instead. And if I can say something like about fear on my experience, for example, along my path, if you want to call it the path, since the beginning, I think I've been pretty lucky because I was really competitive as a person, as an athlete, and I was using always the fear as a positive factor.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't know, or I couldn't use or understand, it was like, for example, in sports or dangerous extreme things was a kind of natural for me, because I knew that facing the fear was, yes, there was the risk part. There is always the risk part, but then there is always the reward in the other side, because if there is a fear, what is happening is blocking a lots of people, and you already avoid a lots of theoretical competitors because they already out, because they listen to the fear and they don't even try. And I was completely opposite. If there was something dangerous or something difficult, I wanted to get in because I was attracted by it. But it was a natural thing. So I didn't have any study about it. I didn't have enough life experience. I was young. So I didn't understand the concept. It was happening naturally for some things. But then there were other things that fear was blocking me. And you said fear, as you said, I agree, it's only one. So why sometimes is actually acting as a positive thing and sometimes is acting to holding us back? And an example, it could be when you are a teenager and you kind of fell in love with someone, and you want to tell her or him that, how you feel, and how many times I've been blocked, or, I'm afraid to lose that friend, or I'm afraid to express that feelings because I don't know. There is the unknown. You don't know the reaction of the other person. And I was such a brave person in kid, in other things, but in that kind of things, sentimental, or maybe it could be an opportunity of work, always that little voice that is like, what about if? And that was so dangerous, because you start to imagine something that is not real yet, and maybe it will never happen. When I say maybe she will say no, or maybe I got this application for that particular job and you feel that you're not good enough, or there are 100,000 people better than me. It's just a fear in yourself. You don't know yet, but it's blocking that possibilities, the chances to get over. And as soon as with life experience and then study, I understood that, then you can unlock everything you want if you really want it. The fear, as you said, is becoming just my experience. Maybe your opinion is different. But whatever people that are watching now, they have fear about the unknown after this strange period of our life. Well, brace the chances to the opportunity that there will come in something different, something new, something awesome. Just you need to see the opportunity and don't listen to that voice. And I experienced that when I came to Australia, when I couldn't understand Aussie and English, and then I did most of my study in English in the end after many years. And I wasn't afraid to make mistakes, and was constantly asking people, and I still do, when I make mistakes, just tell me, and I can improve next time. And you overcome the fear, and you just go for it. And it's, for me, is one of the best things that we can do as a human being to grow.
Yes, and there's a saying, invest in loss, you know. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you develop the ability to transfer the energy of what you're calling fear into a positive by utilizing the force and channeling it mentally through in a direction towards, you know, accomplishment of something physical in sport. And other people can be paralyzed by the same and lose the ability to function, and just almost has a freeze effect. And there, you know, the primal instincts, we talked a little bit about that in our first talk, you know, the primitive fight and flight.
Yeah,
There's also a fear response is also a kind of a fundamental response that we can have. And sort of the companion to the fear is the fawn. The fawn is like when someone just, you know, they're overcome by the fear, so they freeze, and maybe someone attacks, and it's like you've been studying karate for 10 years, but you just lock and nothing is working.
You know,
that's like a fawning or a freezing, where you just freeze and the fear prevents you. And others, maybe they're fearful and they're quick-minded and run out of the way or pick up something to the, you know, so yeah,
it's normal. It's the human instinct, as you said.
Yeah, it can have a different effect, but there is a predator prey, and there's a, you know, again, the Taoist analogies, the yin and the yang, which says it very well, you know, the polar. And I think just behind you, right, there's a sort of a design that illustrates this, the black and the white within the black. And
yeah,
sort of
I like that colors, they're really in contrast.
Yeah. Yes. And, you know, so all of that is within us. And for me, how I make sense of it is the philosophically like a unity, the idea of unity as compared to duality. You know, and duality is, I think, education is based a lot on duality, the educational models that we grew up in. And, you know, religion many times is a dualistic, you know, God and devil, good and bad, good and evil, right and wrong, you know. And then that can be applied to every aspect. And so that dualistic is, you know, that dualistic sort of divides the self, it divides the consciousness when we say, oh, well, if it's not good, then it must be bad. Or if I don't see it as good, or I don't experience as good. And that could just because it was programmed into your consciousness, you know. Maybe you see it as something as bad because you heard it 10,000 times when you were a child. Oh, that's bad. And so it's just, you don't even, yeah, or that's good, you know. So again, it's the environment that we create within our own. You know, a unified model is saying not the duality, is saying that it actually comes together to form a union, a oneness. And within that, there is no bad, and there is no fear, and there is no sickness, because fear cannot exist in the light. Fear cannot exist in the love. And, you know, so if we talk like a dualistic model, fear would be in opposition to love. And, you know, if someone has love in their consciousness, they have no fear. And, you know, so that famous saying, I think it was Churchill who's attributed to first saying that, or maybe he quoted someone else, but, you know, we have nothing to fear but fear itself, right? Maybe it was, I think, Churchill. I could be wrong about that. Maybe JFK might have said something similar, but
I don't remember, but yes.
Yeah, but, you know, so we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And fear is generally more harmful than the thing that we are fearing. You know, so we give it energy by fearing it. And you know, you mentioned you had Giorgio, and, you know, Giorgio's a very skillful martial artist, lifelong martial artist. And you know, I mean, that exists in the jujitsu and in all martial arts really, but very much, you know, the study of facing the force, and the force can represent the fear as well, something that is adversarial, that, you know, is trying to hurt you, or you perceive it as a threat. And so how we blend with that and intercept and kind of redirect, you know, this figure eight, you know, up is down, down is up, and day is night and night is day, and it's a cycle, you know. So it's so saying, all, you know, this too shall pass. All experience is temporary in terms of time and place, and this moment of history, there is more fear, as you say, and because of the unknown, and
But I
having
want to give, sorry?
Yeah, you know, presence of mind in the sense of embracing the moment that we are in, as opposed to a future think, or thinking too much about the past, which is sort of projecting yourself along the continuum, either forward or backward in a sense.
Yeah.
And versus being here right now. And, you know, the fear, normally we only have fear if it's something that we think about that occurred in the past, which is stored as a memory that triggers, or something that hasn't ever happened, but it's something that we are projecting may happen, and we fear the possibility of it happen, or we convince ourselves that it's going to happen and fear that. And, you know, the fear doesn't exist in the present, in the sense is that when you are present, you simply face the situation and deal with it. And you know, so the damage is the fear, the harm is the fear, because it's when we are so consumed by that, it prevents us from acting. And we are dynamic. We have to act. We have to move.
Yeah, I was doing actually a presentation yesterday for Italy, and I was talking about mindset and things, and how to shift to the positive. And I say, like, you know, everyone is talking about you're gonna have a big why, you're gonna have a big why. But if you don't know exactly how to apply that, I think one of the biggest mistakes that I was talking about on the presentation is, if there is a problem here, there is a possibilities. But before to get the bridge on how you get from the problem to the possibility, and you ask yourself the wrong why, which it could be like, now you're fearing what you're experiencing, and then you ask yourself straight away why, that's not the right why, because it's just supporting actually the problem. And you keep digging in the past, as you said before, to find something that is actually sustaining the problem. But if you ask yourself different questions, and you say, okay, what do I want to achieve after that? With whom? What are actually the resources that I need? Which are the people? What are the people that I need to connect with? How I want to feel when I be there, and start to experience in your mind that. Then after all these questions, when you ask yourself why, the why is related to that question and not to the problems. So you find your big, deep why to sustain that kind of path to go from the problem to the solutions, and it's completely different. And I bet, for example, for me, there are good things connecting in the past. And I always talking about my grandparents, my granddad in particular. He was born in 1993. So he went through the First World War and the Second World War. And he was such a positive person, really simple. And every time, it doesn't matter if he was sick, if he was fine, if he was angry, if he was not, if you could ask him, how are you going today? How do you feel? Always say, awesome, no matter what. And always already positive. And he gave me so much of this simple routine of just waking up and asking him, hey, Nonno, so how you going? And he said, like, oh, awesome. And it would just straight away give you positive energy. And maybe it wasn't, but he didn't want to believe that it wasn't. So in the end, he lived almost 100 years old. It was almost 98. And I learned a lot from him. But another thing that now I'm really using, because I want to give to people that are listening and watching, I want to give even practical, simple little things to implement to shift to that positivity. And one of the things that I think is not just me, but a lot of us doing it, maybe in a different way, is as soon as I wake up in the morning, I have my diary and I write 3 positive things that I'm grateful for every single morning. And so you already think positive to start the day. And I set up a few action to what it could change, what it could happen today to make my day positive. Like, I don't know, it could be some personal achievement, it could be some physical exercise, it could be just spend more time with my kids, whatever it is. So you got 3 things that you're grateful for, and then you got 3 things that you set up already the intention for the day to make these things happen unconsciously. You say, okay, if today I say I have to talk to Steve, and then I have to spend 2 hours with my kids under the sun, and then I have to create a nice dinner for the family by 7 o'clock. For me, 3 things that make me happy. And if you write it down, automatically you get more chances to actually unconsciously focus on that, and you make it happen. And then I always write also 1 sentence of positivity about myself. So how do you describe yourself? Like, I am an energetic person, and I'm really able to easily connect other people on the same vibration. And I do that because I want to help other 100,000 deaths in the world to overcome fear. And you become more and more powerful to that. Your self-beliefs is going up. And then the rest of the day is completely different, I guess, than before, or some other people that right now they're waking up and they already start watching the phone, watching the news, get some negative input, and then start thinking what is wrong. And the day, it can go left or right very easily for you. What do you think, and what you actually is your routine to keep yourself positive?
Yeah, I like what you say, and I agree. So you mentioned, you're saying positive, but a key word that you mentioned, which is fundamental, is gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And gratitude is a area of study in and of itself, and a meditation in and of itself. And in a sense, what you like to do, as you're describing, you're meditating, but you're journalizing. You're expressing it into the written, which is a very powerful doing process, because you're manifesting from the mental, and you're manifesting into a physical form and through the word. And sometimes doing this as a meditation as well, with just closing your eyes and relaxing. And so I like it. There's gratitude for positive opportunities, like, for example, spending some time with your children. There's gratitude for yourself, things that you're proud of, that you feel good about, that you're happy about. There can be gratitude towards your professional life. They have these things going on, and I'm really thankful for that. And what I've played with sometimes is being attentive to showing gratitude also towards negative experiences that have happened in recent past. So maybe somebody cuts me off on the road, or something simple like that, and you kind of think about that was a negative experience, and yet to step back and, oh, thank you for that experience, and because of that, what I'm seeing as a negative experience, there's an opportunity there for growth, and to be grateful for that. There's gratitude not only for earning money, but for spending money. So to be thankful when you spend money, because money is dynamic. It has to move. It's not just coming in.
If you're spending money, someone else is getting money.
Yeah, it's contributing to the process of movement. And so I think for me, I agree everything you're saying, and to the point where we can learn to be gracious also in the losses, and not only in the victories. So positive, negative, again, it's just a construct, because it's raining. Is that negative weather, or is it positive weather?
Yeah.
if you
Who
love
can
the
say that?
sun and don't love the rain, then you're going to say the rain is negative. But if you live in the desert, you might really see the rain as a true blessing, because you don't get it very often and you need it. So, just taking that and flipping it to gain even a deeper understanding where we're not just grateful for the positive things, we're grateful for all the things. And it is, as you said, very powerful, because gratitude connects us to this universal energy. Some people call love and light, some people associate with God, but there's always, when people talk about God, they also always talk about grace, through the grace of God, and grace is the practice of gratitude, so this, and in Buddhism, it's very fundamental to the teachings, and the practice is to embody a consciousness of gratitude, and it's peace and acceptance within whatever the situation is. So yeah, I wouldn't say I have anything to, I just expand upon what you're saying, and I agree with it. And there's different practices that we have. I like to do a meditation called the 6-phase meditation. It's created by a friend of mine who's become a very famous author. His name is Vishen Lakiani. And he just released his second book, The Buddha and the Badass. This first book was New York Times bestseller, called The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. So that's a really impactful book. And he created a company called Mind Valley, which is now the largest what's called personal growth company in the world. And he created what is called the 6-phase meditation, and taking elements, because with the modern science and the advancements in biomedical technologies, there's ways of measuring brain activity based on different types of thoughts. So for example, if we're thinking about forgiveness, a certain area of the brain is going to be more stimulated. If we're thinking about gratitude, another part of the brain, if we're thinking about love, another part of the brain. So taking like the body of knowledge that's existed for thousands of years through meditation traditions, and most of them come from the East, Buddhism, one example, because, there are developed meditations about forgiveness, meditations about gratitude. You talked also about, some people call it the future planning or future think, but planning your day, or planning, this is how my day, I'm going to accomplish these things, or I'm going to spend my time doing this. And we can project that out to, 3 years in the future. 10 years is a little long, but the science shows that 3 years is sort of the optimal, because it's not too soon and not too long. If it's too soon, it's not as powerful. And if it's too distant, it's not as powerful. But anyway, the point is the 6-phase meditation combines different elements, but it's with the reality of the modern person that's, a city dweller that's busy, that has families working, and they're not going to sit in meditation for an hour in a cave, or, they probably don't have the flexibility to sit in a yoga position. So it's like, how can we adapt this to the modern person and still get the benefits? And, so it's like condensed into 20 minutes. So you relax, you do some relaxation all the way down. You kind of bring in whatever your God or your power, or how you see the positive force in a way that's personal to you. And then, from your heart, you expand it outward, and, you feel the love growing, everyone in the room, everyone in the building, everyone in the city, everyone in the state, the country, the whole planet. I'll take it beyond. I'll go out into the galaxy, the solar system, the multiverse, the omniverse.
You can go wherever you go in the end.
Yeah, to the unlimited, to the unlimited, just the bigger you can think, and, and just some color of love that you associate, think of something you love and just spread that. And then from there, it's, forgiveness and, some problem that you had with a person, could be big or small. and, you know, kind of see that and feel the anger, and then, you know, release it, make it small, forgive it, and move on, you know, see it fading away. And then we have the gratitude. What are we grateful for, you know, as you're talking about. And then, you know, from there we move in, and just maybe 3 minutes in each phase, you know, visualizing. Then we're moving into, you know, the future, you know, or the day, your day, and how you're planning the day, how your day is going to look, and kind of go through that. And then it's, you know, the next 3 years, what's my life going to be? And then you kind of just bring it, you know, you bring it down and close it off. It's like in prayer, it's like amen, you know, at the end you have to seal the deal.
Yeah. And
send it out to the universe. And
can
you know,
I
so that's a really nice the 6-phase meditation. You can find it free on YouTube. You just put 6-phase meditation. It's really nice. A lot of people like it because it's kind of a mix between ancient tradition with modern technology, and it's for a busy person, and it just simplifies the process for people that are, you know, we understand more about meditation now. There's a lot more recognition, awareness about the positive benefits, you know, physiologically as well as emotionally and psychologically of meditation. And there's many different kinds, you know, but gratitude is just one area of focus, you know, and it's very important.
It's powerful.
Yeah. We
And
have to give to receive as well.
Absolutely. Can I say from this talk that in the end, nowadays is not a bad time to experience something that you think is not good, because we got all the tools and experience that we can learn from someone else. We can read book, we can watch videos, we can have coaches. Like, we can learn, we can grow whatever we don't know or whatever we don't know yet, and use it straight away. It's quite simple in the end when you understand the concept and you get deep into it. So it's just a matter of what we really want to project ourselves there or there, and how we invest our time. Because if we need to learn something, it's much better to read about that rather than waking up in the morning and say, I'm isolated, and you're still telling yourself that you don't have time to do these things, but you're spending a lot of time on doing something that is not returning investment. Investment, I don't mean money, I mean growth.
Value, yeah.
Values. So we have all the tools to do that. And this podcast is also what is all about it, giving you all the tools through different experience. Because Steve, you achieved a lot in your life. I bet it wasn't easy. And I bet you had your fears, you get your problems. And as you said, as we all experienced at some point, there is always someone along the way that is trying to let you down or just leave you, or not doing what they were saying to do with you. But if you can see the situation of loss, as you said before, because it's a really extremely important concept of what can you get out of that as a positive experience anyway, I think understanding this concept, it's really uplifting you straight away, because it doesn't matter what happened in the end, internally or externally, you always grow. You always learn something. You're always grateful for that experience, and move on. And I can relate it to that many, many times with fitness professionals, with people that they said we're going to do this, and that together. And then we try to steal in from you instead. Or I believe in cooperation. I believe in community. I believe in family. I don't know, it's because, my heart is Italian, of course. I'm born there, and I
have very strong. Yeah.
Deep concept, but it's really important on every other aspect for me, like working with students, that family. I'll tell them every day. It's communities helping each other. It's not about, okay, we got a session 1 hour and that's it. I constantly try to support that environment and support them. And then they actually supporting me, because I'm not talking again financially, just financially. I'm talking about how do you feel when you can make someone else's life better. It's the appreciation and the power that you get back. And then when you experience that, you're more powerful, you can give more, you can help more, and you can feel even better. It's such a positive cycle But I love it. Everyone should experience that, to give more and
Yes.
receive more and give more back again.
The world of possibilities, and what you're saying is a wonderful example. I completely resonate with that. It is about service, and we benefit through service. It's not a egocentric. It's not egocentric service. You know, it's not purely for recognition or purely for. It's to contribute value, and that in of itself is very valuable, because, you know, the saying, when one teaches to learn, you know, we gain by helping others.
Absolutely.
And it's not, you know, and the values of, we collectively as a species, we're becoming more aware of value beyond what can be measured in material terms, you know, in the currency of exchange, money, you know, not being the pinnacle, and something else having to do with lifestyle and, you know, health and well-being and happiness, which is completely unrelated to a material gain. We cannot deny the material, because we are material in our body. This is the material, and the world that we move in is a material world. So we cannot deny that. We have to integrate it, but it does not take precedence over the intangible, invisible qualities, which is what we are speaking of. And yeah, and that's how we all connect. That's how we all benefit each other. Yeah, it's a wonderful opportunity, and, you know, being able to accept discomfort. And I think I spoke about that on our first talk, but, you know, learning to be comfortable within discomfort is an important training and important discipline that can be cultivated through acceptance. And, you know, for sure, if we took a poll, the polling would be very high in favor. You know, the large majority of people are very anxious to get out. You know, I don't think there's too many people who are like, yeah, I'm cool just staying in for another, you know, 18 months. Or, you know, we all, to different degrees, or want to get out and start doing things. And, you know, and so it can have a strong impact. And even people that feel alone, we're never actually alone, because we're all connected. But there are many people that, you know, they don't have family with them. They don't have a mate. Maybe they don't have a pet. Maybe it's just them. Those are the folks I feel, you know, a lot of compassion for right now. And it's a real blessing if you have anyone, you know, at least someone that you get along with, at least, you know. So, you know, and if you have children and you have a wife and you have pets, I mean, it's just multitude of blessings. But even if you just have a neighbor or a friend, that makes it a lot more comfortable than folks that are completely isolated, you know.
Yes.
But even still, in that isolation, you know, our alone time is where we will do the most growth as well. So there is opportunities for cultivation. It can take many forms. Reading is a natural. Reading is, you know, great for all of us, because it's getting information and stimulating synaptic connections in the brain. And, you know, meditation is certainly a wonderful activity that we can do right here, right now. Exercise is a wonderful activity. So there's a lot of things. And
also, we're lucky to have technology. Like, for the people that we're talking about, like, that maybe don't have family, they're alone, and it's much more difficult. But sometimes a simple things, it can be the best thing. It could be just pick up the phone, or use internet like we're using it now, video call, whatever you want or you can do, and call a friend that you don't you don't talk to for years, and maybe you're always thinking about it. Yeah, but then, oh, I'm busy. I'm not calling him. I'm not calling her. It can change the day. It can change your outcome. It can change everything. And we all get fear. But when I do that with my old friends, like I can count just a few really, really good friends. That usually, for me, are the people that I grew up with. They can never substitute. They will never substitute anybody else, because you have a stronger, like, basically in Italy is not like in Australia, people move fast often. In Italy, you grew up in your suburb, in your village, in your city, wherever you are, usually for years. So with that, people,
or spend your whole life. Yes.
you
Yes.
spend at least 20 years together.
Right. It's not so common to travel so much for Italians.
Yeah.
You know, especially not internationally, but
It's giving you such a strong bond. And then
very very bonded to the region for sure.
So even if I never talk to them, but I can talk to them once a year or once every 2 years or every 6 months. When I pick up the phone, the power is like, if we can make jokes like if it was yesterday that we were playing outside, or just spend all night with the beer in front of us and just talking. Doesn't matter where you are, and you feel really good. And honestly, like being in Australia, for me, I want to share what was my fear at the beginning of this situation. My fear was, I'm lucky that I have my family here. My family, I mean my 2 kids, my partner, and no one else. My brother is in Switzerland. My parents are in Italy. And we were all isolated in different parts of the world. So my parents, because at the beginning they were talking, it was so dangerous for all the people, and they healthy, but they all almost 70 years old. And honestly, my fear was, I have no idea next time when I will be able to travel. And I had the fear to, I have no idea if I can hug them again physically. That was my first fear. We were all okay, but who knows if we can stay okay, and who knows when we can travel again, and who knows if I can hug my mom again. And that was my fear at the beginning, but now I'm more positive.
Yeah, it's I think that connects a lot of people connecting with that concern, and maybe we have taken certain things for granted, and we have access, and then one day you have no access, and it makes us appreciate and reflect, and desire to be able to have, and even just the ability to go back to what it once was. All of a sudden now it appears like a great advance, whereas if it were to continue along, it's like, well, things are the same, it's not getting better. So it's like it's taken away, and then if it's given back, you have a different appreciation of it.
Yeah, and so that's one of big positive thing of the appreciation that we can have after this situation of what we have, not what we don't have. And I would say make the time for the things, like spend some time first. We were actually doing that the other day with my partner. Spend some time to talk about it. What is really important to you? What is really make you happy and peace in your life? And what will you want for the soon future, for the later future, and for your kids' future? And we were really going deep in that, because we were realizing sometimes we're so focused and busy, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that. But then we stopped in this situation and said, is that really what we want? Is that really what make us happy? When I was a kid, I'm lucky enough, I'm 10 years older than you. I'm 80, if I'm not wrong, you're 70.
Yes.
I consider myself and people around my age really lucky, because we experience the simple happiness. I was happy when I think and ask myself when my life was really in a happy place. When I was a kid, I had nothing, maybe a soccer ball and the bicycle. That's it. And I had just space. I had space that I could run, I could climb, I could fell off and cut myself and try new things and look.
Similar childhood. Yeah.
like we experienced that, and the new generation is struggled to understand that simplicity is the key. So we were kind of reversing engineering and say, okay, the past, maybe I want something very similar, if not possible, of course, exactly the same, in the soon future. That's what I want, because I was happy with that. I want to live simply.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we do come to appreciate that as we continue to age. You know, at some point in life, it's the priorities change, and what we value changes, and accumulation is a lot of, you know, as we're growing young men, and I want to achieve, and then there is a point, like maybe even more than achieving more here, I want maybe simpler here. And it's, at some point it becomes not about collecting more, but starting to eliminate the unnecessary, so that you just have the essentials, and it can be managed. It can be managed much easier. If you have too much going on, you're not managing it. And that's a constant state of erratic. You know, got to think about doing so many different things. Jack of all trades, master of none. And so if you can distill it down, and it's about clarity. It's always about clarity. When we have a clear vision, we give power to that which we focus upon, because there's no distraction. The energy is moving in one channel. And when there's no clarity, the mental energy is being dispersed, because it's jumping around to different thought processes, and many times those thought processes are not congruent. One is bringing you in one direction, one's bringing you another direction. So when we're able to sort of step away and just view it and have a clear picture of this is the direction, you know, so, but that's a process, and it's not like a point in time where we achieve and then it's always, because in life it's periods of clarity, periods of unclarity. And you know, not having clarity is also perfectly okay, and it's in the finding and struggling as needed to get to the point where, okay, I've had enough of the struggling, and now I really understand what I want, and now I really know what I'm going to focus on, and now we're on, you know, on that path. We're always on the path, but sometimes it seems like we're not on the path. But the thing about it is, moving is generally better than not moving. So, you know, maybe like you're on a trail and you reach the split, and you can go a number of different directions. You don't know which path to take, because you don't know, you haven't been there, and you don't know what's on the other side. And maybe you take the wrong path, so to speak, but you're still moving. And, you know, instead of just kind of stopping because you're overwhelmed, like, I don't know which one to pick, so I'm not going to pick anything. And so you just, life stops and there's no progress there. Yeah. And so that's a ongoing, I think, challenge.
A great concept. They can embrace it. So related to what you just said, sometimes like stop and see the direction, and maybe you let it go something to see what is more important. What I'm implementing that maybe could be a good experience for someone else that I've never done it before, but it's part of the process, is instead of focusing every day on the to-do list, I'm focusing on the not to-do list as well.
To not do list,
And this is such a simple thing, and and before, like I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's through process of elimination is very effective, and it helps to focus. And because it's like, you know, you ask someone, what do you want? You know, what do you want to do in life, or what's your goal, or, you know, what do you want to achieve? And a lot of times the answer is, I don't know. You know, and so if they can't figure it out, then you can try a different approach. Well, what do you definitely don't want? What do you not want? You know, and why, I hate this, I don't like that, you know. Okay, so now you have all identified all these things you don't want. What's left? Okay, so now you're getting closer to being clear. Yeah. It's about clarity.
And you also can allocate more time for what you want, because maybe you were spending a lots of time on things that you don't want, or with people that you don't want in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. The effective goal setting, types of processes or mission statements, and, there is a process in that. Usually you're going to do it in a written form so you can get it out of your head, and it's okay. What are first you just dream big, right? First there's no limit, imagination. I want all these things. I want, this car and that, girl and that, amount of money and this lifestyle. And then it's, and I want to be loved, or I want to be famous, 50 things you want, or 100 things, or 200 things. And then it's okay. Well, now take that list and narrow it down to 10. Oh man. Well, it's like, I want money, but I also want, the girl, and I want the house, but I don't, so something's got to go. Okay, well, I guess I want the girl more than I want the money, so I'll X the money off the list or whatever, right? And then it's okay. Now narrow that down to 5 things, and now narrow it down to 3 things, and now what's the one thing? And that level of focus, it's like a train track. If you can keep your eyes on the rail, and you cannot fail.
Yeah. It's like one of my coaches, Martin Rooney. You know him?
Yes. Training for Warriors. Yeah.
Yes. I really love him, and I'm really good, always in touch with them, and his lovely wife, Amanda. And he was often talking about the compass. Because he said, like, in the end, if you don't have the compass, exactly as you said, you don't know exactly the direction you're going. You can't be focused on that, and it just takes longer, or you maybe will never achieve that. But when you have the compass, it's such a good instrument, because if you know exactly if you want to go north, west, east, whatever, you know the direction. You just need to follow the direction and focus on that one thing that you really want, and then move on. And I love Martin because he's super, super powerful. Like, I met him in Sydney the first time was probably 5 years ago in Sydney. And he was one of the person that actually changed my life in terms of how I react about things and fear. And he's a really action taker, and he's really precise, and he's got a really good knowledge also when he's talking as a presenter or podcast or whatever. He's really passionate about the meaning of every word. So when he's talking about something, he's not just say something and say, he's asking people, but have you ever thought, or ask yourself what exactly this word, this meaning that we're talking about all the time? Because that's why we're talking in this way. And he's going deep in the concept, and it's I think he's a good influencer as well, on top of a good trainer. And you two have in common lots of martial arts, because he was in martial arts for many, many, many years before training for Warriors. So
yeah, there's a natural segue from martial arts into physical education, since it's such a very in-depth form of physical education training.
I guess there is a lot.
Bring the mind into it, which, if you come from a traditional fitness background, the mind is not emphasized as much. So yeah, the martial arts makes a perfect marriage with the fitness, and because at the end of it, it's all about the development of the whole system, the mind and the body.
But Steve, it probably was my bad connection.
And we're back.
Yeah, we're back. There we go. Another guest.
Hello, young man. Handsome guy.
Yes. So we're talking about martial artists, but and then we close. I don't want to get more out of your time, because I know it's precious. So
thank you very much.
But there is a lot of connection that we were saying about mind and body. It's not just one of the two, right?
Yeah, and for me, over time, the mind becomes more primary than the body, and because it's the initiative, it's the decision, and the initiative, which leads to action. So even the body is, without the mind, there's no development of the body, because you have to choose to do the thing before you do it. There's a conscious, so people that work out, they understand, but a lot of times they don't understand how to apply the mental projection to other facets of life. They're good at working out, but have not been able to apply it in other areas that are important.
I think that's the key. Like whatever you get out from the business mindset, or the workout mindset, or whatever other situation, the philosophy is exactly the same in every aspect of your life. I think when you realize that you can apply to everything, you are a winner.
Yeah. I mean, there's a saying, again, martial arts has a lot of rich body of knowledge, but study technique to embrace principle, holding principle, forget technique. So there's many techniques or many principles or few, so there's thousands of techniques, but only a few principles that are repeated. And you study the technique to actually internalize the principle. And when you have the principle, you don't need the technique, because the technique can change according to the situation. You got a screw, you need a screwdriver. You have a butter bread, you need a knife. So different tools, different applications. The tools can change.
Yeah.
So yes, the mind is primary, and at this time we have the opportunity to develop the mind more. We're at home, so
yeah, it's not great.
It's not wasted on the too much on the entertainment. The real estate of the mind is the precious real estate. So I don't like to let others program the mind.
Everything we learned, Mikey, everything we learned in this podcast, for example, there is not such a better time to spend time to think about that and implement it.
Yeah, small steps.
Such a great opportunity, and if more people can see that, understand that, I think we did our job of get the message out.
Yeah, your vehicle's a great vehicle in that, with that cause, that purpose. Uniting. We're uniting and providing some inspiration to those that need inspiration. And if you stimulate some thought and some action, then we did a good thing for it.
I'm sure we are doing that. So I'm 100% confident that lots of people will benefit from it. So stay tuned for a second. I just want to say hello to everyone that is watching, and thank you so much to Steve Cotter and for his precious time, because one of the things that I really appreciate in people is their time. So never waste someone else's time. It's precious. It's life. So thank you so much, Steve.
Truly a pleasure, Alessandro. Thank you. Great to see you.
Good.
And keep well. We talk again soon. Thank you. Thank you. See you, man.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Take care, guys.